your topics were going to be for your marine biology essays. And today, our aim is going to be how can we locate one article to use for our marine biology essays. Mary, could you please read the turn and talk do now for us, please?
Which steps of the research process are you most nervous about? Which step excites you the most? Explain.
Amazing. I'm going to give you all about 3 minutes to go ahead and discuss in your small groups, starting now.
I think that guys, we're supposed to be talking as a group. So, I'm sorry, I feel like I'm talking to myself.
So what step of the research process are you most nervous about? So it's identify, find, evaluate.
I think finding a good article. I feel like because the credibility and stuff, if there's not good credibility, then it's not going to be a good article to read, and I shouldn't use that for my biology essay, because then it's not credible, and I wouldn't want to use information that is like false.
Yeah, I think evaluate, just because it's like there's going to be so many different types of like articles that you can read, different types of information, and where you can find that, and it's just going to be hard to decide whether it's going to be like the right kind, I guess. Yeah.
No, mine is just identify. I have so much issues and trouble finding a topic to look for or like to research.
And then which excites you the most?
Ooh. What excites me? I just like finding data. Ocean life is cool.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, that's exciting. Read about.
I'm ready for the organising and using. I like using data and trying to like actually express that to people and present that in a way that's actually useful. So I think that's going to be the most fun part of this whole process.
Excellent. Thank you all so much for sharing. Just know that I will be with you every step of the way. So if you are feeling overwhelmed at certain points, come find me in the library and I'd be happy to help you with your essay. All right, so we're going to do a little quick review of last week's session. What are 2 benefits of using databases over Google search? Cameron?
So you have more narrow search results. Like it's a lot better, like results that you get using a database than just a random Google search.
Absolutely. Kamea or Mary, do you have a different benefit that you'd like to share? Mary?
They are more credible. It is mainly like journal articles or like published journals from
Yes.
places.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing. And we are going to delve more deeply into that today. So, our learning objectives today, we're going to describe the function of Boolean search. Thank you for taking notes, Cameron. Define and describe truncation. Locate at least one article using truncation. Locate at least one article appropriate to the topic of your marine biology essay. And identify library resources available to students. All right, so without further ado, let's get into that. Okay, so our first learning objective was describe the benefits of Boolean search. Well, Boolean search is found on our advanced search option, which I'll bring up in just a moment here. Instead of doing a basic search in the search bar, it has more options for how you can find articles. And it also allows for more relevant articles because it's within a certain structure or a certain criteria that you're looking for these articles. Boolean search uses and, or, and not to narrow, broaden, and define search terms. So again, we're getting more specific with the amount of searches that we are getting. So if you can see up here, so let's say we were looking for articles about politics and media. That means that our search is going to include results of both politics and media. Same thing with children and poverty. Civil War and Virginia, which would bring us Civil War within Virginia. All right, so again, the results will include both terms. Or the results will include one or both terms, okay? So if we put in law enforcement or police, labor or labor with a U, as in the English British spelling, 60s, numerical 60s, or 60s spelled out, okay? So, or is especially useful if you are looking to get synonyms or variations in spelling, okay? And then you can see our not here is going to exclude results. So Civil War, not American. So maybe we're looking for Civil War around the world, but we don't want to know about the Civil War in America. So we're going to exclude that topic. Caribbean, not Cuba. Therapy, not physical. So we're not looking for physical therapy. Maybe we're looking for like a mental therapy instead. When do you think it might be useful, or when do you think you might use not in your Boolean search?
When I'm trying to find like a specific type of information when I already know what the main concept is, maybe?
Yeah, no, 100%. Especially if you want to just like narrow your search even further, or maybe you get a lot of results about the American Civil War, but you want to find out what else is out there, so you can just exclude all of those articles to start fresh. And then you'll notice how to put stars next to Civil War and law enforcement. Do we see how they have quotation marks around these terms? That is going to keep those terms together so that when you are searching for articles, you are looking for law enforcement together in the same phrase. You're not looking at for law over here in one paragraph, but then in another sentence or a different paragraph is enforcement. So those quotation marks are going to give you articles specifically about law enforcement or Civil War. It's not going to give you topics about civil in relations to like peoples and community, and then also war. It'll give you Civil War together. Thumbs up if this makes sense. Okay. So I would like you to go ahead and log into your database. All right, so if we're looking at academic search complete, for example, and we're looking at this Boolean search, Or you can also do keyword, which is going to look for social development throughout the article. It may not be what it's entirely about, but it's going to pick it up throughout the article. You also have the option to limit to full text, which is what we'll be doing for this time period here, because we want to make sure that we have access to that article. So that is another way we're going to filter our searches for this time. And then you also have the option to add or delete another line. So let's say you want to add another and or but, you have the option of doing that as well. Okay. So our second learning objective was to define and describe truncation. Truncation is the wild card when it comes to searching. So we're going to use an asterisk to indicate different forms of a word that a word can take by cutting off the end of the word to make it shorter. So it's going to have different forms of a word. This makes the results larger and accounts for different forms of a word. So for example, let's say that I entered child asterisk asterisk into the search bar. That's going to not just give me articles that contain the word child, but also children, childhood, childlike. It's going to give us more searches that mention some form of the word child with different endings. Thumbs up if that makes sense. Okay. All right. So in that example I just gave you, with social development and video game and teen, if I wanted to use truncation in that example, I would probably put it at video game asterisk on the end of games, so that I can also get video games or video gaming. I would also put teen asterisk so that I can get teenager or teenagers as well, to broaden my search that way. Okay. So what we're going to do now, we're going to go over learning objective 3. Locate at least one article using truncation. Okay? So use truncation in the Boolean search at least once to find an appropriate article for your essay, because we want to be able to practice truncation and Boolean search as you look for articles. And then you're going to find the most relevant articles. And how do you do that? You're going to use those search strategies. You're going to use truncation. You're going to use the advanced search, the Boolean search, instead of just typing it into your search bar. And then once you think you have a potential article, go ahead and read the title of the results that come up. And does this sound like something you might want to include in your essay? If it does, we're going to open it up. We're going to open up the full text. And then we're going to skim the abstract. And we can think of abstract as like the summary of the article. According to that, if the abstract sounds good, then awesome. We're going to go ahead and read and skim the introduction, the conclusion, or like the results and discussion sections. If those sound good, then chances are it's a good article to use for your essay. If maybe you've skimmed the abstract and you said, I don't actually want to focus on this in my essay, that's fine. We're going to disregard the article that you found and then go back to those search results and look for a different one. Okay? And of course, you may wish to look deeper inside of those articles if you think it is a good one to use. So, again, if I was looking for the child development, children's social development, and video games, I would use truncation there to get a further, more elaborate search results using truncation. Okay, learning objective 4 is locate at least one article appropriate to the topic. Here is where we're going to practice these skills that we now have. So I have a graphic organizer. You are going to use that to record the database that you have accessed, the the Boolean search strategies you used, and information about the article. In 2 to 3 sentences, you're going to write how you'll use that article in your essay, and please use this checklist up on the board. Did you use truncation to locate an article? Did you use and, or, and not to limit or broaden searches as needed? You don't need to use all 3 of those and, or, but, and, or, not, but you do need to at least use 1 of them, right? So that means you'll need at least 2 bars there. Did you find at least 1 article appropriate for your topic? And then fill in all of the information on your graphic organizer. All right, so here are your graphic organizers. I'm gonna show you how we're gonna fill this out. So you're going to write that topic that you chose for your essay on the very top of the page. All the articles you are going to be looking for are going to make sure that they correspond to your topic. There is an example of how I would like you to fill this out on your graphic organizer there, but if you need help, I'll be coming around to help you. You'll notice that I have 3 article spaces. Right now, we are only looking for 1 article, but you're more than welcome to move on to do all 3. Your teacher is requiring you to find 3 articles to use for your paper. But the goal today is to give you those search strategies that you can then use to find the 2 other articles for your essay. And then on the back of it, you have your search term tracker. So to avoid doing the same search in all of these same databases, you can record which search terms you've tried and if those had yielded results or not, and which database you had used to find those articles in. Any questions? Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and give you 15 minutes for this then, and I'll be walking around for assisting as well. Oh, and you might be asking why we're looking for such detailed information about the article that you found, such as the journal that it's found in and the year and the volume and the page numbers and all this. That is because we're going to then use that information to create your citation, so that we can say that you didn't use your words, it's someone else's words. We're gonna get to that later on though, so I don't want you to worry about that right now. And if you need help locating the volume, the issue, and page numbers, I will come around and help you with that as well.
So, for my topic, it's asking about goals in climate change, and then also it wants to know about the changing ocean temperature. So, would I use an and or an or for this one?
Because it's looking about how something affects something else, I would use and there.
Thank you.
Of course. Because it's relationship building.
climate change, how the change in ocean temps affect their refilling capabilities and knock-on effects.
That's a great topic.
It is very interesting.
Mary, I saw you record one of your search terms. What did you have?
I did plastic pollution and marine life.
Okay, awesome. How do you think you want to try some truncation with that?
Yes, I did plastic pollution. Oh, yes, I probably should. Okay, yes, I will.
How do you think you would put the truncation in there?
What's truncation?
Yeah, so
Is it?
different forms of a word.
Oh,
So you
yeah.
can find more searches about
Okay.
something.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, I see you have pollution here. I'm wondering if we put an asterisk after the T, we might be able to find the pollute. Yep, pollution, pollutions.
Yes.
And then I'm wondering, maybe we should actually separate plastic and pollutions and see what happens there.
Okay. Perfect, I will do that.
I see a giant no for didn't yield results.
Yeah.
How can I help, Cameron?
So I'm making my search for the topic, but it's coming up like, so I've searched up cold truncation and climate change and oceanic temperatures and knock-on effects, but then it's also showing me things like, as I'm going through papers, it's showing me tourism and things like that, which I'm not really wanting to research, so I'm having to include a not
Not
the not,
tourism.
yeah. And I put the asterisk for just after the S, so it can make other.
Yeah, for tourists as well.
Yeah.
And if that hasn't yielded any results.
I've got my results from 30 to 10, so I think I might be on the right page.
Okay. Let me know if you'd like some assistance.
Okay, thank you.
Of course. We have just 4 minutes left. So if it's a long article, let's just look at that abstract. And then also the conclusion and see if it might be helpful.
Is the conclusion like the very last paragraph, or is there like a certain part?
Yeah, typically it will be labeled as conclusion, but if not, we can assume that it's going to be the last part.
Oh,
There you go.
it's
Yeah.
conclusion.
you might have to try and just research individual bits and try and maybe bring it all together instead of all at once.
Yes, I think that's a good idea. Just kind of chunk it.
Yes. What does it mean by knock-on effects?
What does that mean?
For, because it says the refueling capabilities and the knock-on effects. What would that mean?
That would be something your science teacher could help you with because I'm not super sure.
Okay. I shall ask them when I see them next.
But we can also just like Google it and see what comes out. Maybe we can figure that out together.
Sustaining impacts on the entire ecosystem that depend on the presence of a healthy
Sounds like interdependence of different ecosystems
Okay.
or organisms of those ecosystems. Yeah. Alright, we are coming to the end of this activity. Please make sure that you have the title, author's name down, as well as that other information such as journal, pages, so that we can find that article again if needed. Please finish up those last minute thoughts. Okay. Please put your pens down at this time. And I do want you to understand that research is always flowing, right? So you don't need to necessarily use this article in your essay if you believe that you have found a stronger article to use. But this is just a good foundation to have. All right, is there someone who would feel comfortable sharing out how you used truncation to find your article today, what your search term looked like? Cameron, thank
responding to climate change, how changing ocean temperatures affects their rebuilding capabilities and the knock-on effects. And the way I truncate it is because there's different types of like coral reefs, and just blew all of that. So I just done coral and put it in asterisks to get like all the different possibilities.
You put the asterisk after coral?
And also, I wanted to omit tourism from it because that wasn't really the focus of what I wanted. So I put an asterisk just for just after the S on tourist, so it omitted tourist and tourism from my searches.
Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing. Okay. Awesome job, everyone. I do want to bring us back to our last learning objective of this lesson. Identify library resources available to students. Okay, so this is just a reminder that the library is a magical place where we can help you with your writing skills. So if you want somebody to read over your essay, or if you're struggling to find the words for your essay, we are able to help you in that department. We can also offer you a quiet place to study during the day. If you need to print anything, we have free printing. We can also offer you some reading suggestions if you just want to do some pleasure reading outside of school. We also have some films that you can check out of the library, and of course your friendly librarian who is always here to help you. Alright, so you're going to do an exit slip, okay? You're going to choose one or two to answer, so you're either defining truncation or describing a benefit of using Boolean search. And then you're also going to answer on a scale of 0 to 5, in which 5 is high, how useful do you believe Boolean search and truncation will be in your other classes? And I have post-it notes for you all to fill them out on. So again, just numbers 1 or 2, and then also that question on the right-hand side. And then as you are leaving the classroom library today, I'm going to ask you to please put it on the chart paper located next to the exit door. I will then read those over, and thank you so much. Were there any questions about today's lesson? Okay.